job for the next 1 hour now is really about explaining to you this strategy sheet. A lot of the team leaders already know this, and the blue column is really why an organization exists. The purpose of the organization. So it has a vision statement there, being the first choice, providing quality education. And then all of this is really the hows and the whats and the whens, because they're all related to time zones and numbers. These are all the mundane stuff. This column is really all your philosophical belief systems, value systems. So in this room, we have a lot of diversity. I mean, if I were to fragment this room in the next couple of seconds, let's see how many fragmentations we can do. I'm a DPS school. I'm an IB school. Right? I'm a CPS school. I'm a CPS CBSE school. Can I get some hands up? I'm a CPS state board school. I'm only 11th and 12th. I'm not even Calorx, I'm Alters.
I'm NCPS.
I'm NCPS. Right?
CSR.
I'm CSR.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm Alters, but I'm not part of branding. I'm not part of business development. I'm support system. I'm an HR. Everybody in this room doesn't even belong to each other. You're all individuals. You're all fragmented. The only thing that's going to bind you is the purpose of existence of Calorx. And then the rest of it is how. Go do your IB thing, go do your DPS thing, go do your central board thing, go do your state board thing, go do your NCPS thing, go do your branding stuff. That's the rest of the stuff. But unless you're unified in purpose, we can't build an organization. You will have to always know that there is one thread that connects everybody in this room today and everybody who's going to be in this room tomorrow. And that's the purpose of the organization. Right? Your core values are right here. Your YALI statements are right here. They are your unifying forces. That's one thing that will always hold you together. That's one thing that will put you apart from the rest of the world. But in this room, if I have 50 different groups, we don't even have a group from the rest of the world. This is where we have to exist. This is where these are your 15, 20-year-old goals. Everything that you have here, you don't touch before almost 15 years. Remember, I said what we did 10 years ago in my 10 years ago. After 10 years, I'm reinventing that. Because that's as long as we have to build culture of an organization. The culture is here, correct? We'll talk in much more detail there. This is now, if this is your 15-year-old span, you've got to break it to 5-year-old span. 3 to 5-year-olds, because it has to be achievable. It has to be, you have to be able to relate to it. From your 3 to 5 years, and then you come to your first year goals, and then your quarter. Sometimes we say this in management. If you've got your 5-year goal in place, and you've got your next quarter's goal, forget everything else. Nothing else matters. Because you're achieving the 5-year target, and you've got to close. So the macro picture is the 5-year, the micro picture is your next quarter. And in this room, if I were to talk to your junior level, I would be saying a whole different set of stuff. I'm talking to leaders. I'm talking to people who are going to manage the sheet. To you, if you do not have your sight on quarter, you're not doing your job. And there's nobody else who's going to do that job. If you are doing a day-to-day activity, or a week or a month activity, there are people under you who are supposed to do that. So you know what's going to happen? You're going down and doing their job. Who's doing yours? Managing this whole sheet is your first responsibility. And in order to simplify that, I'm saying, keep your eyes on 5 years, keep your eyes on a quarter. And that's why all of our reviews are going to be quarter on quarter. I'm changing this whole format of goal review here on. Typically, we used to do it in a large audience and all of that stuff, right? What's going to happen is, you're going to develop the sheet, you're going to share it with your team leaders on a Google Drive. And then, quarter on quarter, we just discuss it. That's about it. The rest of the quarter, do what you have to do. Do it your way. You have complete autonomy within that quarter. But We all are tied together in a common thread. We know how everybody. So I love this example, and when I say it, every time I picturize that, I realize how powerful it is. The Kerala boat festival, right? Where hundreds of people sit in a boat and ride together to win. Now, just imagine in a single. How many of you have seen that visual? There's this little canoe-like thing, hundreds of people, hundreds of oars.
Same direction.
If one person rowed in a different direction, can you imagine what would have happened? Forget the winning line. They would have had collisions, right? They would just get into one another. This is rowing the boat together. Everybody in your organization, in your department will row the boat in the same direction so that we get to some place. Yeah? So here. We have, this is a Ghatlodia sheet that I had sampled. What we've already done for you is this is mostly for projects. From here, from being the first choice, we broke it down to parameters that we can evaluate. And let me tell you this, to make 15 parameters is damn easy. To make 6 parameters is a real big task. Just like writing English language, right? To write 5 pages is so easy. To compress the 5 pages to half a page, it takes every skill that you have, every vocabulary that you have to express yourself. It's pretty much like that. So what we try to do is we try to get what is the number 1 KPI of this group. I love this. What is the number 1 KPI? What is the critical number of this group? Number of students. We have it right up there, number of students. The second thing we have is capacity utilization, which is to say that I have a capacity of 700 people, students, but I'm completely functioning with, at this point in time, I have 350. So I'm functioning at a 50% capacity. So we know that we have a margin of 50% to go to, whether we do it in 3 years, 2 years, 5 years is a different ballgame. The other thing we want to know, market, see every organization, and education is no longer what it used to be in India. Today it's really very competitive. Today it engages business intelligence. We want to know, there is a DPS Bhopal we believe is our market leader. We believe is the premium school of this city. I want to know, for instance, in the 10-kilometer vicinity of a DPS Bhopal, where we believe that we are market leaders, what percentage of the market we really own? How many CBSE English medium co-educational schools there are in 10 kilometers radius? And what percentage of those children really come to us? And then go into demographics and say, are we really saying the right thing? Are we the premium school? Are we the best sought after school? And do we really enjoy? To be a market leader, you have to enjoy more than 70% share of the market. You can't say you're a market leader just because you claim to be. Right? So we'll get into that. For this discussion for today, we're not going into market share because we haven't developed business intelligence to that yet. But capacity utilization we'll go into. The next 2 things is about having just lean. What's the tuition fee you collect? What do you spend? Revenue per student, expenditure per student. Okay? And then the second one, the last 2, are quality parameters for education. We are in the academic domain. It doesn't matter what we do. If we don't put our best foot forward inside the classroom, everything else is secondary. So those 2 are what we talk about upward mobility, which is very simply put, and Mrs. Dua will explain if you have questions, because everybody is going to do these criteria. You have your A1, A2, B1, B2s, right? We want to just see year on year, is your A1 percentage going up at least by 2%? Across the slab, horizontal, vertically. So is the B1 going up, so is the B2 going up. So then we know that the school is academically moving up. And finally, follow me on Twitter. Finally, we have academic rank, quality ranks. So all those who have board examinations is very, very easy to see how we are placed. City-wise, state-wise, region-wise, national-wise. So that's what there is. The same thing goes to year's goal and the same thing goes to the quarter. This is clear? Very easy. Now, all of that may change. This doesn't change. All of that may change for different groups. Let's take some examples. How relevant is this to, say, HR? Not relevant, right? Revenue per student, expense for students is not relevant for HR. So what can be HR's criteria? Let's just as an idea.
Could be number of staff.
Now, the students increase, there will be a more requirement of the staff, the teachers, so the recruitment will increase, the ratio.
Student-teacher ratio will then become their indicator.
Right person for the right job.
Job.
The quality indicator, that will be the quality.
Quality teachers.
Or when we are saying that this is our value mission statement, what is HR doing to ensure that every teacher is actually there? Even that can, see, because everything flows from here. Everything flows from here, right? Let's take another example. Let's take transportation. What do you think the parameters can be for transportation? Per bus average? So yeah, number of students per bus, number of buses required, occupation or capacity, running costs, number of drivers and conductors to hire,
Values would come.
staffing,
Drivers and conductors, those
value
values.
propositions for drivers and conductors, that will also come, training will come.
Designing the rooms.
Let's take CSR. Let's take CSR and see how the parameters will change for CSR. So let's take a Prerna or a Summer Kids and brainstorm. What can be the parameters for them?
Spreading awareness.
Spreading awareness, inclusive,
Motive is achieved.
Collaboration with the
yes, making it self-sufficient,
Collaboration.
Motto is achieved or not, how close we are to the
Community participation.
community participation,
collaboration with the industries and other.
collaboration with industries,
Placements of students.
vocational education,
Student placement.
student placements.
Make difference in society.
How will we quantify that?
Humanistic approach that we do.
This is all criteria. This is like something that's measurable. Always remember you have to use SMART, right? It has to be measurable, it has to be, sorry, let's go through SMART one more time for recall.
Specific.
Please, whoever remembers will please put up SMART. I have up here, which I haven't really introduced because I plan to do it for Calorx Day.
With a stretch.
All of these you can't measure it. So we cannot have words. Humanistic approach is a core value. Correct? Can you now give me an example so that we are all on the same page? Give me an example of a SMART measurability of humanistic approach. Who wants to try?
Attrition rate.
Yes. Attrition rate in staff is humanistic approach.
Withdrawals, personal dollar students. Personal trained.
Number of students that they leave.
Yeah.
Inclusive instruction is also
Absolutely. Inclusiveness. Number of students. Inclusive students. Absolutely.
Community projects are
And he has raised
humanistic.
placement.
Community projects.
Community project is humanistic. CAS is humanistic. SUPW, community aided. Sorry, what were you saying?
Placement asset of the student through alumni. Not realistic.
Is it? No, it can be realistic, but is it humanistic?
Sensitization.
Absolutely. Teacher sensitization for inclusiveness is humanistic, right? So you want to make it 300 teachers trained for inclusive education. We can't leave it as inclusive. We have to get down to measurability, attainability, realistic. Okay? All right, good. So there's a word up here that I have, which is going to assume a lot more importance in coming years, which is Calorx taxonomy. We've been able to put a little, at least on a macro level, picture together, and I'm going to really unfold it in greater detail on Calorx Day. I'll request you to hold your horses until then, but that's going to, like I said, I cannot reposition the fact that unless we work inside the classroom, Calorx doesn't matter. So we have to buy in to this commitment one more time that whatever happens inside the classroom, we are who we are inside the classroom. Yeah? I'll still come back to this. I don't know if you can see this, everybody. If you have soft copies. So let me go through this. In this is a competency level. You want some? You can see here. Somebody's done something. But you can't even see, right? Because Prabhav is not transparent. Okay, so let's go through this. The first thing we said here is every time we admit a child, there is a price we have to pay for that admission. There is an expectation that the parents come with. And whether we like it or not, whether we are working towards it or not, that's our job. So the price of an admission is here. This goes for everybody on the chart, every organization, every person. So if a driver is not driving well, he's not technically sound. If a conductor is not compassionate about the children who are riding the bus, he does not have the functional technical requirement. His job is not just to clean the bus. If our value system is humanistic, he has to approach the parent and the children right. If our transport department is fighting with our parents, we are not technically skilled. We cannot claim to be customer focused and fight with people. We cannot. We have to, of course, we have to present our viewpoint. But at all times, it has to be done politely. Our people have to remember that students and parents come above everybody else. It's not happening in many pockets. So that's the first price we have to pay. Does everybody have a drive for results? How many of you will agree that most of our people wait to be told?
Yeah.
Everybody waits to be told. But within their functional areas, they should be result-driven. If they are not, it's our fault, it's not theirs. We have not demanded from them. And that's one of the things I've always said. I've always shared this example that, the huddle team is the best team of Calorx. Because we work so hard with this team. What we need to do is cascade. This work has to go to the next level and the next level so that everybody in this organization is good. Yeah? We have to have integrity and trust. We have to have customer focus. Every individual has to have presentation. A teacher is first a communicator. And if a teacher is not communicating, I don't think we are doing our job. It doesn't matter how much I've prepared for this session if I can't make a breakthrough, if I can't convince you, if I can't get you on the page. Communication, as we say, is about 1500 words. It's about what, when, who, how. It's simple. Communication has to reach you. If it doesn't, the job is not done. It doesn't matter how great my vocab is. It doesn't matter what bombastic words I use. The aim of communication, it has to get to you. For that you need only 1500 words. You don't even need more than that. Are our teachers using those effective 1500 words to communicate to our students and our parents? If we are not, we do not have our presentation skills in place.
Kejriwal does.
Arvind Kejriwal does. On Kejriwal, we cannot go forward without Kejriwal. So, I started to get a fever 2 days ago. I guess everybody's running in the month of February, right? So I was like, hey, this is a bad time for fever to strike, right? I have 2 days of goal setting, and then the Calorx day, and then a Visamu kids, and then the launch of Bhavnagar. So, but the only good part was the Kejriwal effect. The biggest fashion statement that India has presented last winter is the muffler. Nobody used the muffler as effectively as Kejriwal. So every time I wore my muffler because of feeling sick, I was like, hey, Kejriwal effect. Yeah, so look what Kejriwal does. Everybody started to say he can't do good governance, but he has great mass appeal because he's just communicating, right? So somewhere we have to get the Kejriwal effect for presentation. Timeliness, learning on...
The oratorical skills need to be developed and how?
that's where the whole training component comes in. Training has two aspects, right? One is the taxonomy, which is how we do academics inside the class. The other is the soft skill component, right? Which is how do you communicate, how you as a team player, are you using AV material, all of that. So we have on our, so everybody gets to build this slide, right? So has Altus already built this page. And there we have recognized the gap in training, and we are going to work very actively on that this year. Right? So, okay, so individuals we go through. Now I want to pay attention to the last three. If you're a middle management person, and I want you to understand what middle management, senior management really means. Anybody who's at the head of the organization is the top management. Okay? So I've written there generally, principal head, just position yourself. Sometimes you may be in two levels as well. Okay? Then there is a senior management and there's a middle management. Any examples for more clarity? Who's a middle management in terms of designation? Not names, designations, please.
Vice principals.
Vice principals are middle management?
Principal.
Let's start with, okay, will it be easier to start from the top?
Yeah.
Okay, chale. Who are top management? Directors? At a project level, principals. Correct?
Yeah.
Is that set? At a functional level, who are senior management? All functionals. All functional heads. All functional heads, because they take the ultimate decision for their department. Look at it as decision making. So who's a VP? Where is the VP here? Senior management.
Senior manager.
Now tell me who's middle management. Your DCs, your ACs, your...
Coordinator.
On an Altus parameter can we take so that I bring... Managers, middle management. Right? So all the functional heads will come here. Of course directors. But you know, directors are not functional people. This is a functional sheet. So directors will certainly come here. But anybody who manages the sheet is here. Anybody who builds the sheet and manages the sheet is sitting right here. Clear about who you are? Okay. Now let's see middle management. The middle management's focus is on building effective teams and making processes work. If they are not doing that, they're not doing their job, they're doing somebody else's job. And their job is going up begging. The senior management has to have active role in hiring staffing and business acumen. And I want an example of business acumen at this point for senior management. So all the headmistresses, all the VPs, all the second level functional guys, give me examples for business acumen.
Optimization of resources, marketing strategies.
Okay.
Optimization of resources versus number of students.
So why should a VP do marketing? That is the media Altus's job, right?
Because it's very contextual.
But it's
As
trust
per-
the mature of the
Very
people.
contextual.
in the functional
They know
part.
what are they aiming for.
So
Further these things, you know, if marketing they are doing, but we have to make a lot of people aware, spreading the message, make it in the post. That is our role.
So sometimes if you do not understand marketing, it's like you got a headache and you get a stomach pill. Because the marketing people don't understand your domain knowledge. I as a marketing person can come to Mundra and say that I'm going to give you a full page first page ad. He's the man who will say this doesn't work here, mujhe SMS campaign do. To build everything to context, it becomes your job. In order that Altus can make any difference to your project, you've got to understand every aspect. You're not a principal to do academics. That is a teacher. You're a principal and senior management so that you know the overall aspects of your business. And I'm using business in a very loose term. You have to understand your organization 360 degrees so that you can demand from Altus. Altus is there because they are all private people, they are all specialists. They're like a kidney specialist will come to you. But you may not need a kidney specialist. All you may need is a crocin. Get that? That's why you have to understand. So senior management, I still did get the business acumen. So marketing, what else?
It would be like
Business
getting the
development.
business.
Budgeting.
For me, it would be
Budgeting.
budgeting, getting the best quality people.
Why does the senior management have to understand budgeting? CFO तो है ना?
To work within the frame, to get that profit per student expenditure, balance that. That further goal we have per student, how much we are spending and how much we are actually earning to balance that.
Okay.
Management has to have their hands on the entire project, what they are doing, why they are doing, and where everything, operations, budgeting, finance, and whatnot.
So if you are sitting here and you realize that your senior management does not have business acumen, build it through training. But by not building it, you're losing a big chunk of your workforce. No principal can work alone. The more capable your team is, the better that you are off. I do this all the sessions selfishly. The more capable you are, I sleep better. Seriously, I'm doing it for my sake, not so much for you. I'm like, I got to get this guy to do just this stuff. So before CFO was on the team, I used to do half that stuff, right? Now I don't look at that area. So before operations was on the team, I used to do all of that stuff. Great learning.